Creature Feature friends at home. Tangela has interrupted tonight's program because she's fairly upset with a lot of you. Apparently, she is somewhat rather miffed because while we get many thousands of views of our show here on YouTube, it would appear that only a few of you have even bothered to lift your index finger to press the subscribe button. So we'll just be holding up the show until you subscribe. Go on. It's easy. The button's right down here. Good. Now we'll just wait for the rest of you to do it as well. While we're waiting, we just want you to know that once we have enough subscribers, YouTube will unlock features to us that allow us to bring you more content, like live streaming. Imagine that, a live stream from right here at the mansion. It would be so much fun for us all. You, yes, you laddie in the grey shirt, you didn't push the button all the way. There you go. Oh, that's right. We'll also be able to offer you special merchandise right down here on the screen. Imagine how grandly entertaining it might be to order a fashionable new Creature Feature shirt right here as you watch. Right, so there's still 5 or 6 of you out there who have not yet subscribed. We're waiting. Young lady in the moo-moo, come on. When did moo-moos come back into fashion? And you, sir, with the impressive beard, I shall be far more impressed when you cease stroking your beard and use that hand of yours to press the subscribe button. Very good. All right, Tangela, I think that's all we're going to get tonight. We now resume our regularly scheduled program. Thank you for your patience.
And Tangela too, and our host Vincent Landau, and he brings it to you. Creature features, and all creatures, and all creatures. And the creature gonna get you tonight. You better not turn out your bedroom light. He'll grab your head and give it such a bite. You may even die, just from a fright. You ain't nothing gonna be, baby. You ain't nothing gonna be alright. 'Cause the creature gonna get you, baby. Gonna get you tonight.
Where in God's name is she, Livingston?
She ran up to her chambers to fetch her bat.
Well, she better get here soon. Show is commencing. So good of you to join us, young lady. Welcome to Creature Features. The pernicious pixie who prefers passage by way of pole would be my delightful housemate Tangela. The tall bloke with the refined sense of fashion and the rather superb cranium agleam would be my dazzling butler, Mr. Livingston. And I, television friends at home, am your garrulous, gossipy, and gabby toastmaster, Vincent Van Dole. Have we a grandiose episode in store for you tonight? First, we'll be joined by the wonderfully talented young author, Rachel Litfin. She's working on a book series called The Chronicles of Royal High. Her first entry in this collection is called The Lost Noble, and she's apparently working on the next volume right now, as I speak. Remember this young woman's name, for it may one day be up there in lights with Tolkien, Rowling, or Martin. She'll also tell us about her former days as a cosplay celebrity and what it was like descending upon Comic-Cons in fancy dress. We shall also screen another Lugosi film, namely The Double Back. This revolves around the story of a disgruntled scientist who seeks revenge upon his former employer for failing to make him a millionaire. This is not the best Lugosi film, nor is it the worst.
All the films you present are the worst.
No, only most of them. So don't go away, because it's going to be another night of fantastical Batwing fright right here on Creature Features. Stay tuned.
Hairstyling for the show was provided by Restoration Hair in Santa Rosa.
Welcome to Creature Features. It's that time of the night, that time of the week, the time you love. And you know why you're going to love it tonight? We've got Rachel Litfin, the Rachel Litfin. You know, she's an author. And she's done a number of other things as well, but we're going to talk about those things later because you're like official now. You've been like
I am.
New York Times bestseller.
We're getting there.
Soon.
We're getting there. That's the next
Soon.
one.
Well,
That's
you
the
know,
next one.
by the time this airs, I bet you'll be a number one bestseller.
You know
Because
what? Let's
maybe
wish
after.
upon a star. Yeah?
One should wish upon a star.
Then-
So you write books. You've written 2 now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought she did not complete the second one, but you did.
I did, yes. By the time this airs, it will be online on Amazon, so you can order in a copy, and it should be up on Kindle by then too, so you can
All right,
download
we're
it.
going to give them all the info for that. They don't even know what the book is yet, so we're going to explain that. We're going to explain that. But first, how was the trip up?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. The sun was setting. It was that like golden hour, and the ocean was gorgeous.
Oh, we love the
and
golden hour.
It was such a relaxing drive. It was.
You know, something about the smell of the sea relaxes guests.
Oh,
it's just
yeah.
like, you know, that smell gets in your nose and it feels nice. You want to go hunt for seashells.
Growing up in this state, California, I've often said I can't imagine living anywhere that does not have easily accessible ocean.
Well, you're some distance from the ocean, though. You've
A little
got to
bit,
do
yeah.
some driving.
Yeah, it was a little bit, but like being landlocked elsewhere, I couldn't imagine.
No, well, you know, most of these other states, they have large lakes, like ocean-sized lakes, some of them. That's what I'm told. I've never been. I don't know. Anyways, we got to get to the film, but when we come back, we're going to talk about your book. We're going to talk about the other stuff you do, and then we're probably going to talk about my shoes, because everyone's always asking about my shoes.
I
and
love your
don't know why,
shoes.
but I like your shoes better. We're going to talk about her shoes tonight. All right, you stay with us. You guys stay with us, and we'll be back after the next break.
Hello. This is Dr. Carruthers speaking.
Yeah, this is Heath. Henry Morton and I are having a little get-together at my home tonight. We want you to come.
Why, that's nice of you, and I appreciate it. But I'm very busy working on a formula for a new shaving lotion.
Oh, but Doc, this is my daughter's idea. And she's going to be awfully disappointed if you don't show up.
Don't take no for an answer. Make him come.
Yeah, you see, it's a sort of a special occasion.
I bet Mary is going to announce her engagement to that young rascal, Don Morton. Tell her I'll be there. Goodbye.
Well, it's all arranged. He's coming.
He's going to be surprised when he finds the special occasion that's to present him with this bonus check.
$5,000.
Good. You have not forgotten. You hate this strange oriental fragrance, even while you sleep. Just as you did before I made you big and strong. Now, if you detect the fragrance in the night, when you're fully awake, you will strike. Yes, you will strike to kill.
Portions of this program are brought to you by Micromat, making products that keep your Macintosh running at its best.
Welcome back to the show. We are still with Miss Rachel Litfin. She wrote this book, this very book. And all these words are your words.
They are.
This is incredible. You know, I've written lots of things, but never this much in one time. How long did this take you to write?
From point of first conception to actual publication date, 13 years.
13 years? That's a long time.
Yes, it was.
Well, you know, I bet you rewrote several parts many times.
Yes. There are still some things in there that are original from when I thought of it when I was a teenager. I was like 13 years old when I thought of the first concepts. I grew up going to like Renaissance fairs and playing World of Warcraft, and I loved Lord of the Rings. And
so that's the inspiration for the book.
well, it was the question that set it off was. We were coming home from Renaissance Fair, my family and us. We dress up and everything. I'm 13 years old. I just entered high school, and I thought, did Renaissance Fair kids have like a village high school? I'm 13. And then that question was like, you know, did like the blacksmiths teach the kids, and did the farmers teach the kids? And I thought, well, the nobility would have their own school, wouldn't they? Well, of course they would. And it was that key thought that cultivated over the years with all my sources of inspiration from fantasy things that I loved.
This is fabulous.
And it became the Chronicles of Royal High, which follows the teenage royalty of the magical world of Edenarth. They must become paladins, warriors of light, to fight the invading dragons, while still attending nobility finishing school Royal High.
So you've got the social aspect as well as the danger from the dragons. That's amazing. I love this cover.
Thank you.
We're going to do a close-up, I hope, on this. And, you know, this person's hair looks familiar.
Oh, really? Really? Is it really that
It's a
familiar?
bit redder in this shot than it is tonight. But so this is you on the cover.
Yeah.
This is incredible. And that's a real dragon, right? It was flying over you when you shot this. That's incredible.
I can't tell you her name, though, because it's a spoiler.
And you're on the back as well. This, you know, you've tapped into something quite wonderful here.
I think so.
I think it's going to be like on the must-read of like you know,
Absolutely.
some high schools.
I also
here and
think
there.
it's going to be on like Netflix or Hulu or something.
Oh, film rights. No. Well, you know, we're big in San Jose. And you know who's in San Jose? Netflix. Although nobody from Netflix watches all this damn show. Now, they've got better things to watch on Netflix, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's my theory. You know, maybe there's somebody from Netflix watching, but I doubt it. But we'll see. You should be watching this episode if you're watching Netflix. So, you're working on the second book. We're going to talk about that in a second.
Mm-hmm.
But first, we've got to get back to the film. And when we come back, you're going to tell us about the second book, right? All right. You guys stay with us. You stay with us. I'm stuck here, so I'll be here too.
Now remember, Roy, Tommy, you're not to mention anything about this bonus for the doc until after your father has presented it.
Have you warned those two lovebirds over there?
Perhaps I'd better. I want to caution both of you.
Not to say a word about the check.
Until you're ready to spring it on him.
Your father will make the presentation, Mary.
Why don't you unveil it, like a statue? Then we could all be in on it.
You know, I think it'd be a better idea to put it in a bottle and launch him with it.
You must have gotten that idea out of a bottle.
Well, the doc isn't coming. What?
Oh, what a shame.
Oh, he just got busy with his new formula and forgot all about us.
He'd forget the formula if he knew about that $5,000 check.
Well, why don't we all go up there and give it to him?
No, I wouldn't do that. He doesn't like visitors when he's experimenting.
Well, Roy could take the check up to him.
Sure, I'll take it. Shall I make the doc a speech when I give it to him?
You won't have to, Roy. The check speaks for itself.
Yeah, and says a mouthful. Son, tell the doc we're awfully sorry he can't be with us. But of course we understand how busy he is.
All right. Just a minute, Roy, and I'll be with you. That's it, all right. Now, what can I do for you? We were all sorry you couldn't be there tonight.
Yes, but you see, I'm busy. Something important, very important.
Yes, of course. Mr. Morton and Dad had planned a little surprise for you.
A surprise?
It's in here.
Well, let's see what it is. $5,000. What's this for?
Just a little token of the firm's appreciation.
Oh, I see. A bonus. Well, it's awfully nice of you, Father and Mr. Morton. I will thank them personally tomorrow.
I'll tell them, Doctor.
Well, aren't you curious about my new formula?
Yes, of course, only I didn't want to be inquisitive. What is it?
A new shaving lotion. Smell it.
Pretty strong, isn't it?
No. The scent evaporates a short time after you've used it. Try a few drops. Now rub it on the tender part of your neck. Here. Soothing, isn't it?
Yes. When will it be ready for the market?
Oh, it's still in the experimental stage. I want to try it out on several people first and see if it works.
Well, if you'd like to send me a bottle, I'll be glad to try it for you.
Thanks.
Good night, Doctor.
Goodbye, Roy.
Lovely check, isn't it, Doctor? They are wealthy because of you. You made them rich, Doctor. It was your formula. Tonight they gave you $5,000 and wanted you to come down to their house and thank them for it. That was your money they gave you, like a bone tossed to a faithful dog. You should be very grateful, Doctor. Very grateful. They are rich and happy, thanks to you. And what have you got, Doctor?
Tonight you have work to do. It's time you were on your way.
Mary, tonight's a good time while our families are here to announce our engagement.
Look, Don, I've loved you a long time, ever since we were kids. But I'm afraid it's been more like a sister.
Well, I had no idea you felt that way.
I better call Dr. Carruthers.
Oh, please, hurry.
There's nothing I can do.
You mean he's dead?
Yes, I better call the coroner.
You think it's murder?
I don't know. I never saw anything like it before. The jugular vein is severed.
Send Johnny Layton in here.
Well, what have I done now? Who wants me fired this time?
Nobody yet, but it's still early. This came in from Heathville. It's a mystery killing. Old Martin Heath's son.
Who's Martin Heath?
Who's Martin Heath? Say, have you ever had a date with a girl?
A girl? Oh, yes, a girl. I believe I did take a girl out once.
Well, did she smell sweet?
Of course she smells sweet. Most girls do.
Well, that's because of Martin Heath Cosmetics Limited. They make all that goo that the women put on their faces so they won't have to wash them with soap and water.
I get it. A big man, huh?
Yes, and a big advertising account. Grab yourself a photographer and get along over there to Heathville. The coroner's holding an inquest. Find out who really killed old man Heath's son.
Okay, McGinty, I'm on my way.
This is Livingston, and you're watching Creature Features. Not now. Stay tuned. This portion of Creature Features is brought to you by CreatureFeatureStore.com, the official merchandiser of Creature Feature accessories.
Welcome back to the show. Miss Litfin stepped out. I think she's going to bring a costume.
You think?
No. I don't think she likes doing that anymore. She's an author. She's got better things to do with her time, right?
One should have fun occasionally.
Anyway, we're going to do letters because that's what we do, right? Right?
Right.
Let's do letters. How are you, Mr. Livingston?
Quite well, thank you.
Right.
Despite everything.
Despite everything. Well, you know, he normally doesn't complain except when he's complaining or when he's filing a complaint. It's a strange thing.
Your logic is impeccable.
It is. This one's from Terry Myers, and it says, "Greetings, cemetery here." Oh, that was interesting. You see what he did?
Yes.
He put Sema in front of Terry. From Huntington Beach, California. I know this place. I just now found out about Creature Features, and I'm loving it. How have I not heard about you before? Looking forward to being a long-time viewer. Well, thank you, Terry. How have you not found out about us before? We're not on a big network. We're just like on tiny networks everywhere. So it's like they don't cover us on MTV or any of the things that Terry probably watches, right?
Hard to say.
That's my only explanation. Maybe more people will discover us through you, Cemetery. Thanks for writing. Next up.
An actual snail mail.
Oh, somebody actually wrote pen to paper. Jim Crabtree, is that right?
It would appear.
OFS. Off-duty officer. I don't know what that means. But it came from Oakland. Oh dear, there's a lot of stuff. You need to prepare me for these things. You know, I really should read these notes before I read them to you. But honestly, most of these, if not all of them, I don't see until you see them. So this is all handwritten. I don't know if I'm going to read this all, James Crabtree. He's a chaplain. Well, this should be good. All right, here we go. Dear Vincent, my son and I enjoyed meeting you, Mr. Livingston, and Tangela. Your stalwart and erudite butler, Mr. Livingston, has a voice very much in modulation and sound as the fine actor Frank Langella. You know, he plays mobsters.
And vampires as well.
And vampires. Tangela was much prettier in person and much more petite than she is on the show. She kind of gave me the creeps until I saw her jump up and visit little children and children in wheelchairs. That's right. She's nice to children because they don't judge her. And she seems like a really nice girl. You, sir, are taller than I figured you to be. You know, I get that a lot. You know why? Because I'm always standing next to this bloke. He's like 8 feet tall, right? Just, if you want to see my size, look at me compared to Tangela. She's like 6 feet tall. So it makes me like 7, right? Let's see. I mentioned to you about a rare werewolf classic from Britain called the Lendig Monster. Lendine Monsters? I'm having trouble reading your writing, sir, but I'm gonna press on. It was made in 1942, and it has a black and white, fog-enshrouded atmosphere. The East Bay Comic-Con was very enjoyable. If you ever need someone to help you find some inexpensive horse gems, call Jason and I. God bless, Jason and Jim. Well, thank you. Here it is, the Undying Monster. He's right. We got to look into this, Tom. Maybe we can get this film. Well, thank you so much for writing. And send me an email sometime. I can't read script anymore. It's like, he probably reads scripture, so he writes scripture as well. I could be wrong. I don't know. How are you, Tangela? Yeah, she's got the gross one out again. That one.
Yes.
I don't know about that one.
A personal favorite.
She needs to brush the teeth. All right, this one is from Christine Jenkinson. She does not say where. Oh, here we go. Hello, here at Ashland University in Ashland, Ohio, we show creature features on our station. We're on a lot of college stations. It's true. We're kind of like a college thing. Certainly not because of me, because I'm not very college educated. All right, we are big fans and so excited to hopefully hear our message to you on TV. Here you go. As students majoring in journalism and digital media, one of our focuses is production. The attention to detail in the props on your set. Props on our set.
It's the house, actually.
It's the furniture in my house, my home, my manor. Is something we all look forward to seeing, especially the skull with a candle in it. Is Tangela's hair her natural hair? We have debates about this all the time. You have natural hair? Feels natural to me. Thanks, Christine Jenkinson. Well, thank you so much. I hope you folks at Ashland University are having fun. You know, that sounds like a nice place. Ashland University.
Ashland.
That looks good on a resume, I bet. That it?
That's it for today.
That is it for letters. If you'd like to send us a letter via email, send it to the address you see appearing over here. Or if you'd like to send an envelope with papers in it, like our other friend, send it to this address here.
Preferably typed.
Preferably typed, but that's all right. It's me. I got old eyes. All right, we'll be back soon with Miss Litfin, but first let's get back to the film.
Chief Wilkins? Yeah? I'm Johnny Layton of the Chicago Register.
Glad to see you.
And this is my cameraman, One Shot McGuire.
Hi, Chief.
Howdy.
Say, we're down here to cover that Heath murder, but we didn't get much information at the coroner's inquest. I thought maybe you might be able to help us.
Well, I'm always glad to cooperate with the newspapers, providing they cooperate with me.
That's the policy of our paper.
Well, to tell you the truth, I haven't got very far with this thing myself. Oh, here's something that might interest you. It's a picture of the victim's wounds.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be able to see it better with this glass.
Are these scratches on the neck and shoulders?
Yes, but we can't determine the source. They're too deep for fingernails, too shallow to have been made by a knife. They're more like claws.
That sort of bears out Dr. Crothers' theory at the inquest of a wild animal. Have there been any circuses around here lately?
No.
Heard of any animal escaping from a zoo?
No.
Couldn't have been one of those African leopard men. They use steel claws.
This isn't Africa.
Okay, Chief, I was just trying to help.
Chief, are you sure there's no clue you're holding back while investigating?
Well, since you're going to work with me on this case, there is a clue, and a very weird one. The autopsy surgeon says that such wounds could have been made by the beak and talons of a bird.
A bird? Why, there aren't any birds around here big enough to attack a man.
How about an eagle?
We know it wasn't a bird.
How do you know that?
Because we found several hairs on the shoulder of Heath's coat.
Ah, Rachel Litfin.
They're not human hairs.
What kind are they?
Well, it may sound silly, but the laboratory test shows that they were from a mouse.
Well, who ever heard of a mouse big enough to kill a man?
Say, a bat has hair like a mouse.
Well, the only bats around here are no bigger than sparrows. There was a peculiar odor about the wounds, but they were so faint and elusive that the police chemists have been unable to identify it.
Then it does give us something to work on.
Well, if the scent was a clue, it's been destroyed by evaporation.
Say, Chief, do you mind if I do a little sleuthing around on my own account?
Certainly not. Go ahead. If I can help you any, why...
You can. Miss Heath seems to be the nearest to an eyewitness of the crime. I'd like to have a talk with her. Can you arrange it?
I think I can.
Well, Dr. Crothers refused to let her speak to us. We tried that this morning at the inquest.
Well, don't you worry about Dr. Crothers. He's one of the finest men in Heathville. He just thought you'd add to Mary's grief so you could get sensational newspaper stories. I'll arrange an interview.
Thanks, Chief. I'll keep in touch with you.
All right. 48J.
Miss Heath, did your brother have any enemies that you know of?
Why, no. Everybody in the village liked Roy.
Mm-hmm. Well, what did he do at the factory?
He had charge of the experimental department where the new products are developed. Oh, here comes Dr. Crothers. Hello, Doctor.
Hello, Mary. I took a shortcut from my laboratory through a garden hedge.
You met Dr. Crothers at the inquest this morning.
Yes. Mr. Layton, I hope you'll forgive me if I seemed a little abrupt. But I'm fond of Mary. And considering the ordeal she already went through, I wanted to protect her from dwelling too much on a tragedy.
Of course. You were quite right.
We're working on the case with the police now.
Yes, I understand. Chief Wilkins phoned me. And if I can be of any assistance, just call on me.
Thanks.
Won't you sit down?
Shall I serve, mademoiselle?
No, Maxine, I'll do it. You may go now.
Oui, mademoiselle.
Do you take sugar, Mr. McGuire?
Huh? Oh, no, ma'am, never. In fact, I don't even take tea. If you'll just deal me out, I'll take a look around. I may dig up a clue.
What do you think of Dr. Crothers' theory about a wild animal, Mr. Layton?
Well, frankly, I don't think much of it.
I can't say that I blame you. But I, as a scientist, take many things into consideration a layman might overlook.
For instance?
The jagged nature of the wound, the rapidity with which the murderer escaped, the scratches from talons or claws.
But when an animal attacks a human, there's bound to be a lot of noise. You heard Miss Heath testify there was no sound of a struggle.
No. Only those awful screams.
It's very puzzling, very mystifying.
Doctor, when you last saw Roy, did he seem worried or nervous or moody?
No, not at all. On the contrary. He was in the best of spirits.
Well, I've got to get back to the village now and file my story. You'll excuse me?
If you find it necessary for us to talk again, you may come back at any time.
This evening, if it's all right with you. I'd like to spend some time here.
Why, yes, that'll be quite all right.
Thank you. Goodbye, Miss Heath.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Doctor.
A little more chiffon, baby.
I do not understand.
Oh, you know what I mean. A little more of your stocking.
Like these?
Sure, I like 'em. Who wouldn't? Now, hold nice and still, because this is going to take a little time.
Well, if you're going to shoot, shoot.
Right away, Johnny. I was just trying to get the focus.
Mm-hmm.
I got it. And not bad, either. I'll be back in a minute, Frenchie. And don't worry none about those werewolves, because nothing's going to harm you while I'm around here.
You make Maxine feel so calm. My big, brave journalist.
This is my idea of nothing at all. Sitting here waiting for an animal to give us an argument. Look at that moon. And I had a date with Frenchie.
Oh, stop crabbing. We're supposed to solve a murder. You,
Big, brave journalist.
This is the first time I've ever been invited anywhere and asked not to shave until after I get there.
I wanted to observe your exact reaction when you tried the lotion.
Oh, now I understand.
I want this lotion to be perfect before turning it over to you to be marketed. Here.
It's a little strong. That'll make the customers think they're getting their money's worth. Oh, that feels great. Very soothing.
I don't think you ever use anything else.
Well, we wouldn't want to market anything we wouldn't use ourselves. That almost smells good enough to be used as a cologne. Oh, what's the matter, Doc? Can't you stand your own lotion?
I have a violent dislike for perfumes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
All right, Tommy.
Good night, Doc.
Goodbye, Tommy.
Portions of Creature Features are brought to you by the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. Explore the mystery at winchestermysteryhouse.com.
You are watching Creature Features, and I am chatting with Miss Rachel Litfin, author of this wonderful book we've been discussing. We're going to talk some more about this book and the next one you've got in the pipeline. But you were telling me during the break that, you know, a lot of this inspiration and some of the skills that you developed doing cosplay and conventions were helpful in making this book.
Absolutely. So I've had this book series in my head since I was a teenager. And I always knew it was going to be something. I just didn't know when or how. So that was always kind of like my project. But at the same time, I was a costume dork. I did theater. I ran around my backyard in elf ears and capes because I loved Lord of the Rings. And like, that was me. And then eventually that turned into full-fledged cosplay. I'd say I was definitely cosplaying by like 2008 officially, but even before then I was. But I'd say 2008 was when I really started getting into cosplay. And
how many different outfits have you built?
Gosh, like I did Wonder Woman, I did Princess Leia, I did Catwoman, Poison Ivy, I did like a Winx Club fairy, I did Ariel, I did lots of Disney. I've done Belle, which
Well, this kind of looks like Belle, right?
So the cool thing is my most recent cosplay after my retirement, because I switched gears in 2017 when I loved cosplaying. I still love dressing up. You should see my Instagram. But it was more so, the book was always in my heart and it was always like weighing on me. And I was like, you know what, it's really time to make this happen.
Right.
And so I put the brakes on the dressing up and I hit it full hard, and by February 2018, we published the Chronicles of Royal High, The Lost Noble. But my most recent cosplay I did as a favor to a friend. I did a Disney Princess collab with Tracy Hines, who is a wonderful YouTuber and Instagrammer. And I was Belle, and I wore this gorgeous giant ball gown. And it was a video that was released for the Disney release of Wreck-It Ralph 2. And that was so fun. That was such a dream come true.
So that was like an official Disney video?
It wasn't official Disney, but Disney's very aware of Tracy's presence. I think the last I checked, that video has like 13 million views.
13 million.
Oh
My
yeah,
goodness.
she's amazing. And so that was like my last official big cosplay was summer 2018 when I did that.
But that's like your fun thing to do.
That is my
right?
that is
That's
my
like a
fun thing to do.
And this is work.
This is my job. This is literally my job. This is my full-time job, actually. This is what I do.
I know some popular cosplayers can make some money doing conventions and posing and things, but that's still not like live on it money, right?
There was a point when I could have definitely gone down that professional cosplayer route, but I really knew, like, I love dressing up, but I want to keep it fun. And I really knew that my books were they are it, that they were going to be it, then that's where my life is. And I made the decision to put the brakes on it. But I have so many great friends still in the cosplay community and so many great girlfriends that are just killing it. And like, I miss them. But it's...
How many conventions have you done?
Oh gosh, I don't even know. So many. You mean like in my lifetime or with this?
With like cosplay.
Cosplay. I mean, it started slow.
Take a guess. 1,000?
No, not 1,000.
500?
200? Maybe at least over 100, I'd say for sure.
And where's the farthest you've ever gone?
The farthest I've ever gone was Florida. I went to MegaCon, but I wasn't cosplaying then.
There's a thing called MegaCon?
There's a thing called MegaCon in Florida.
I want to go to MegaCon. MegaCon invites me.
It's mega.
Us.
It's like really mega.
That would be fun. No, last time I went to Florida was for a gig that did not go well. Yeah, bad. All right, I'm getting the signal. We got to get back to the film, but when we come back, we're going to talk about your next book. What's it called?
The Chronicles of Royal High, Dragon's Wrath.
Dragon's Wrath.
The dragon's mad.
The dragon is mad. It must be if he's got a wrath.
She.
All right, you guys stay with us.
She.
Hey, what's that?
Where?
Over there, something's moving.
Come on out of there, whoever you are. What are you doing out here, Miss Heath?
I thought you might want some company. Shall we sit down?
You know, you shouldn't be wandering around the garden at night after what's happened.
Neither should you.
Well, but it's part of my job.
Mine, too. Roy was my brother. Be careful, I think it's Tommy.
Hello, Tommy.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Tommy.
darling.
What's up, sis?
Mr. Layton wanted to stay in the garden for a while, so I joined him.
And don't tell me you're waiting for that animal Dr. Carruthers mentioned.
So you don't believe it either?
I certainly do not. It's ridiculous.
But somebody or something killed your brother.
And I suppose you're working on the theory that the murderer always returns to the scene of the crime.
Perhaps I am.
Well, not for me. If you'll take my advice, Mary, you'll leave these gentlemen to their vigil and go to bed. That's what I'm going to do. Good night.
Good night, Tommy. I don't think your brother likes my being here.
Oh, you mustn't mind Tommy. We're all terribly upset.
I know.
Tommy!
Come on.
But I'm telling you, McGetty, it was a bat. I saw it kill Tommy Heath.
Listen, Johnny, I want you and One Shot to come on home or I'll fire both of you.
I'm not coming home, and neither is One Shot. I'm keeping him here to get a picture of the devil bat. Say, that'll look great in the headlines. Devil bat strikes again.
Listen, don't tell me it had horns. Maybe I better send a wagon with the steel bars and the strong boys with the straitjackets.
Look, Joe, have I ever lied to you?
Plenty of times.
Well, I'm not lying this time. If it ever got out that I cooked up a fake story about a devil bat, I wouldn't be able to get a job on a country weekly. Print the story, Joe. So help me, it's on the level.
All right, I'll print it. But I won't believe it. Not till One Shot gets me a picture of that devil bat in action.
Don't worry, he'll get it. Goodbye. You, my friend, are going to get a shot of the devil bat in action.
Who, me? How?
Have you noticed there's a taxidermist shop in the village?
Well, you wouldn't suggest that I go out and stuff a bird, would you?
One Shot. To think that you'd even hint that I would suggest you have the village taxidermist build you a nice big bat for pictorial purposes. Besides, a bat isn't a bird, it's a mammal.
Well, why didn't you say so in the first place? Where is this bird stuffing emporium? Oh, down on Cottage Grove Avenue. Now, here's the idea, Frenchie. You hang on to the bat till I get my camera set up. And when I raise my hand, you give the bat a good shove, and it'll swing out just like it's flying. Then I can get a swell picture from my boss. Get it?
Oui. I am wise, no?
No. But hang on to the bat until I raise my hand, huh?
Sherry, are you hurt?
Say, what's the idea of breaking up my devil bat? I'm going to make you pay for that.
And I'm going to take you to jail until you explain this. Come on.
You can't do this to me.
I'm doing it.
I was just conducting a little experiment, trying to find out how the devil bat does his killing.
I'm sure McGuire didn't intend doing anything wrong. He's just a little overzealous about his work.
Well, with the town in an uproar, and everybody terror-stricken, wondering whether he's going to be the next victim, I don't want any more trouble stirred up, even with an artificial bat.
You'd better get back to the hotel. I want to talk to the chief alone.
Is it all right, Chief?
Yeah, but be careful in the future.
Ever smelled anything like this before?
Well, yes. That's the same stuff that's been on every one of the devil bat's victims. Where'd you get it?
Found it in Don Morton's bathroom.
Find out where Morton got it?
No, I didn't want to arouse suspicion by asking questions till after it's been analyzed.
You think it has any connection with the murders?
That's the way it strikes me, but I can't figure out how.
I'll get the police chemist on it right away.
I'll snoop around, see if I can find out where Morton got it.
Well, it probably came from down at the Heath Cosmetic plant. I've men working on a theory of a disgruntled factory employee committing the crimes.
It's certainly more than coincidental that all the victims have been members of the Heath and Morton families.
Yeah. Looks like a plot to wipe them all out.
I wish the rest of them would leave town until this crime is solved.
You're worried about Mary, aren't you?
Well, yes. I've been urging her to leave, but she won't go without her father. And he insists on remaining here to help clear up the crime.
And worse than that, neither Heath nor Morton will let me give them a bodyguard.
I guess we'll just have to wait for something to break. Good night, Chief.
Good night, Johnny.
Boy, have I got a picture that'll knock McGinty dead. Meet the devil bat.
Well, how about that wire? Looks as if the bat's on a flying trapeze.
Oh, but I'm not through working on it yet. See, I can touch this picture up so the bat will look like he's got nothing around him but nothing.
Okay, Rembrandt. You win.
Hello, Creatures Features. My name is Josh Barton, and I'm from Oregon. I'm in Beaverton, Oregon, and I'm watching your show for the first time tonight, so I'm going to check it out. All right, guys. Thanks for Creatures Features.
Portions of Creature Features are brought to you by the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. Explore the mystery at winchestermysteryhouse.com.
Rachel Litfin, author at large, publisher. You know, I would talk about this film, but I'm not going to. I want to talk about your book, your second book, number 2. You wrote this first one, which is The Lost Noble. I like that title.
Thank you.
You should open a coffee shop one day called The Lost Noble.
I would have 1 million books in it.
That would, it could be
That would be a wonderful coffee
shop. Right. What's the new one called?
The book 2 in the Chronicles of Royal High series is called Dragon's Wrath.
Dragon's Wrath.
Yes.
And you said it's a female dragon.
Yes, and that's kind of a running joke in the second book. We discover the way the first book ends. We find out who the dragon is, but I don't want to say the name of her. But the second book, it's kind of somebody's like, oh, that dragon, and Adela's like, she. They're like, she. They're like, how do you know? She goes, I know. And it's just kind of one of those moments. But yeah, she's on the cover here, and then hopefully we can show the second book. And I don't know what kind of stuff you guys do for graphics, but the dragon on the second book, it just shows her just in her full glory and everything. And the book basically picks right up where the first one leaves off. We're in it already. Adela Everhart is the heroine of the series, and she's dealing with the fallout of what happened at the end of the first book. A fiery circumstance occurred, and she is very disturbed, and she is trying to understand the mystery between, like, why is this happening? And she's at Royal High trying to get her nobility education so she can take over the realm next door. And so Dragon's Wrath really sees her on her journey to understand why the things happen the way they happen in the first book. And as it progresses, Adela and her friends find themselves on the brink of this war that is happening.
I think you're giving away too much of the book. You can't give spoilers away on your own book.
I mean, it's the
not out
tagline.
yet. So what I want to know is, you know, everything, all art is inspired by something. And
yes,
this strikes me as you might have some like Harry Potter and like Game of Thrones influences going on here.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
There is. I had someone say a while back, it's like D&D goes to Hogwarts.
Nice.
It's definitely D&D goes to Hogwarts.
Like a T-shirt that says something like
D&D
that.
goes to Hogwarts,
Right.
Royal High.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
But it's
so if you love those two shows, right?
Oh yeah, no, like it's. I played World of Warcraft. You'll definitely see those influences in there. I loved Lord of the Rings. Grew up on that. That was my main plunge into fantasy, was when those movies came out. Then I read those books. But Harry Potter, definitely, Dungeons and Dragons. But it's also very fantasy pop. It is a very fun, lighthearted fantasy story. So it's, when I say fantasy pop, I'm talking about things like Stardust and Ella Enchanted. The new Disney movie coming out, Onward, when I saw that, it's by Disney Pixar.
I know nothing about it.
Check it out. If you see that trailer, it's fantasy pop. And when that came out, I got really excited because that's basically the feel of Chronicles of Royal High.
Right. Fabulous. And what period of time does this take place in?
A fantasy world in an undisclosed time, far, far away.
Right, but future or past?
Past.
Past. All right. So all these people are dead, maybe.
Not
should make it in the future. You should make it in the future, right? Right. Who knows? All right. Got to get back to the film. When we come back, we're going to find out how to get this book, right? Right. All right. Off we go. We'll be back after the next break. You guys stay with us.
This is your news commentator, Walter King. Tonight we're broadcasting from the little village of Heathville, where an alleged devil bat has claimed 3 victims during the past 6 weeks. You will note that I say alleged devil bat. That, ladies and gentlemen, is because your correspondent has been very skeptical from the start as to the existence of this horrendous creature. I have as my guest in the studio tonight Professor Percival Garland Rains, perhaps the world's greatest authority on animal life. I'm going to interview Professor Rains on the subject of the devil bat. Our radio audience may draw its own conclusions. Professor Rains, first let me ask you, point blank, do you believe that any such creature as the devil bat exists?
I do not.
He's got a nerve.
Quiet. In the dark ages, when men and women lived in caves, there may have existed a bat of this size. But not in this day and age.
How do you account for the fact that Mary Heath, whose 2 brothers were victims of the devil bat, and a newspaper reporter, John Layton, claim to have seen this amazing creature?
Sometimes under stress of excitement, our minds play tricks on us.
Hey, he's insinuating you saw the little bat that wasn't there.
Pipe down. But how about the picture of the devil bat published by Mr. Layton's paper?
I examined that picture under a powerful magnifying glass. I denounce it as a fraud. Whoever constructed the strange-looking monster forgot to remove a label from the silk used on its left wing. That label reads, "Made in Japan."
Put through a hurry call to Heathville. I want to talk to Johnny Layton. He's at the Heathville Hotel.
One guess who that is.
Yeah, McGinty.
Go ahead, pour it on.
So you slipped over a fake picture on me, huh? Well, you're fired, both of you. And I'll see to it that you never work on another newspaper as long as I live. Made in Japan. You tell One-Shot McGuire he ought to be snapping photos in a booby hatch. Both of you, come on in and get your final checks.
Oh, no, we're not coming in to get anything. All right, so we're fired, but we're staying here just the same. I saw that bat.
We're going to stay here till we catch that bat, and when we do, I'm going to bring it in and stuff it down your throat. Goodbye.
Well, we're fired.
Mm-hmm. Again. That's him calling back to apologize. Now, you give him a good scare.
No use begging us to go to work for you again, McGetty. You fired us and we're staying fired. Oh, Mary, I thought it was somebody else.
Johnny, why did you make a joke of a tragic thing like this?
But it wasn't intended as a joke, Mary. I was only trying to get the news.
I suppose you call it getting the news when you arrange to print a picture. That's a deliberate hoax. That has the entire country laughing. A grand joke, Johnny. But somehow I can't appreciate it.
But I can explain that picture.
Don't try, Johnny.
Made in Japan. I ought to skin you alive and nail your hide to a barn door.
Here's the chemist report on that shaving lotion.
I see he couldn't break down one of the ingredients.
Yes, he said it must be some element with which he's not familiar.
We won't get anywhere until we identify it.
There's just one other man in this town that might be able to help us. Dr. Carruthers.
Yeah, Carruthers could help us. I found out he compounded that lotion.
Well, if you suspect Carruthers, you're barking up the wrong tree, Johnny. He's the last man in this town that would harm anyone. Why, everybody loves him.
Maybe so. But here's something else I dug up. The Heath and Morton fortunes are based on a greaseless cold cream formula Dr. Carruthers invented.
So what?
All the doctor got out of it was $10,000, and the others made a fortune.
Well, it's common knowledge that he sold out for cash when he could have had an interest in the firm.
Just the same, every victim had this stuff from his laboratory on him.
Maybe you've been working too hard on this case, Johnny.
I'd like to get his reaction on the stuff. If he denies knowing anything about it, we'll know there's a tie-up somewhere.
I think you're balmy. But just to show you that I'm following up every clue, we'll talk to him.
We'll, put this in another bottle, and without telling him we know he compounded it, ask him to analyze it.
Doc, I hope we're not upsetting your work barging in on you this way.
No, not at all. I'm anxious to help solve these crimes. All the victims were very dear friends of mine.
Here's a sample of the stuff young Morton and the two Heath boys had on them when they were attacked by the devil bat.
Of course, it doesn't make sense to me that a bird would choose only people using that particular stuff.
A bat is not a bird. It's a mammal.
Well, anyway, our police chemist couldn't break down one of the ingredients. We thought perhaps you could.
Why, I compounded this myself. It's a new shaving lotion I'm experimenting with. The ingredient your chemist couldn't break down, I discovered years ago in Tibet.
How did you happen to put it in a shaving lotion?
Oh, the lamas use it in some of their religious rites as a perfume. The scent is very pleasant and can't be imitated by competitors.
But what were Don Morton and the two Heath boys doing with the stuff?
Oh, it is the policy of our firm to try out any new product before marketing it.
Well, that knocks our theory into a cocked hat.
Yeah. We were hoping the unknown ingredient might turn out to be some sort of a clue.
This isn't the kind of bottle I give it out in, but I presume your chemist changed it when making the analysis.
Yeah.
Is there anything else I can do to help?
Tell me, did you hear Professor Raines on the radio last night?
Yes. It was very interesting and very asinine.
You mean you believe there is a devil bat?
Why not? You saw it, didn't you?
Well, sure I did. So did Mary.
Then why worry about what one scientist says?
That one scientist got me fired.
Oh, you mean your newspaper discharged you?
That's right.
Oh, that's too bad. Then you're believing Heathville before the mystery is solved.
I'm afraid not. I'm going to stay here and work with the chief.
Since you're going to stay here for a while, I would like you to try out a bottle of the new lotion and tell me how you like it. And you too, Chief.
No, not me, Doc. If my wife ever smelled perfume on me, she'd suspect me sure.
Well, Mr. Layton, I understand you are not married.
All right, I'll try it in the morning when I shave. I guess we better be going, Chief.
See you later, Doc.
So long, Dr. Crothers.
Goodbye, Mr. Layton.
What's the matter? What's the matter?
Does that smelly shaving lotion put you to sleep?
Oh, why'd you tell the doc you're going to use it if you think it's smelly?
Oh, I don't know. I guess I was a little ashamed of ever suspecting the old duck.
Well, I like it, and I'm going to tell him so. What time is it?
After midnight.
Midnight? Oh, there ain't no use of waiting around here any longer. This must be the bat's night off. You got him. Listen, Johnny, I'm going to cook that bird personally for McGinney, and I'll even stuff it myself.
Portions of this program are brought to you by Micromat, making products that keep your Macintosh running at its best.
Skeptical when I came to Heathville today to examine the body of this so-called devil bat. But after seeing it personally and making exhaustive research, I've arrived at the conclusion that the creature is the lone survivor of a type of giant bat which existed in great numbers during the early part of the Neolithic age. Perhaps I should explain for the benefit of some of our listeners that the Neolithic age is that period of antiquity commonly called the Stone Age.
Imbecile, bombastic ignoramus.
Sorry, McGinty, but One Shot and I are not interested at your prices. Of course, if there was a raise of, say, $30 plus a fat bonus, we might consider it.
You're hold-up men, both of you. I refuse to be robbed.
Have it your way, McGinty, have it your way. But we have the bat's corpus delicti and the exclusive picture. Of course, I've got an eyewitness story that 2 syndicates are bidding for.
And don't forget, you got to pay us for the time we were fired.
That's better. Now you're talking, boss. Okay, we're working for you again. We'll gather up the loose ends and see you in a couple of days. Goodbye. Come in.
Hello, Johnny.
Well, Mary.
Johnny, I came to tell you that I'm sorry I said what I did the last time we talked. Do you suppose... well, I don't know how to say it, but...
I do.
Miss Heath, do you suppose that little French girl would apologize to me if I looked her up?
Positive she would.
Splendid. You will be even greater than your unfortunate predecessor. Enraged, aren't you? Fine. I'm enraged also. Tonight I shall call on Henry Morton, and you shall strike him down.
Henry, the lotion has turned out to be better than I had hoped. I want you to try it.
Well, just leave it here, Doc, and I'll try it in the morning after shaving.
Smells good, doesn't it?
Yes, but isn't it too strong?
No. Evaporation quickly tones it down just to the right scent. Rub a few drops on your face.
Well, I'd rather wait until after I shave. Then my skin will be more tender and receptive to a lotion.
Just a little here. The texture of the skin there is always very delicate. I give you a few drops in your hand.
I hope you're right about that scent evaporating quickly. I smell the high heavens.
Perhaps that will be the secret of its success.
Well, you can never tell what's going to happen in this business.
You can believe me, Henry. You don't have to worry.
Yes, I can believe that, Doc. All of your formulas have been highly successful. Oh, I've been going over the report of the company's annual earnings. A net profit of over $1 million. Not bad, eh? When you remember what we built on. A mere $10,000 for your formula. You shouldn't have demanded all cash, Doc. You should have ridden along with us. Then you'd be rich, too. But then you've had a lot of fun in your laboratory with your experiments, dreaming up something new. You're a dreamer, Doc. Too much money is bad for dreamers.
So you try to pay me in flattery, telling me that I'm a dreamer. Well, I do dream. Dreams that you could never guess.
Your nerves are frayed, Doc. Now calm down. Get a grip on yourself. You've been working too hard on your formula.
Formula. That's but child's play for a great scientist. Your brain is too feeble to conceive what I have accomplished in the realm of science.
Doc, you've made some great scientific discovery. What is it?
When you'll find out, Henry, it'll be too late for you.
Oh, come, Doc. You can't pretend to control a man's destiny.
I've already proved it 3 times. I'm sorry. Perhaps you're right, Henry, about my working too hard. I guess I'm a little tired. I better go home and get some rest.
Sure. A night's sleep will do you good. Good night, Doc.
Goodbye, Henry.
.36J.
Hello?
Oh, that's you, Martin?
Yes, Henry.
I want you to call Chief of Police Wilkins to come to your house immediately. It's very important.
Chief's here now.
Well, don't let him leave until I get there.
What on earth's happened?
I think I've got a clue to all those murders. It may peter out, but if half what I suspect is true, it's the most diabolical plot that a madman ever concocted.
What is it?
Talk about the absent-minded professor. I forgot my hat.
Henry, what is it?
I'll tell you all about it when I get there.
I hope I didn't intrude on a private conversation.
No, nothing important.
This is Livingston, and you're watching Creature Features. Not now. Stay tuned. This portion of Creature Features is brought to you by CreatureFeatureStore.com, the official merchandiser of Creature Feature accessories.
Welcome back to the show. We are still with Miss Rachel Litfin watching a film, but we're talking about her book. Oh, you know, she likes to read. She's quite the reader, but you know what she typically reads? Witchcraft books and books on explosives.
There's alchemy in this one.
Is anything that she can like utilize? Uh-oh. All right. Well, you know, it's not a problem for me. She never does these kinds of things to me. It's poor Livingston and poor Andrew who are on the receiving end of her wrath, her dragon's wrath.
Her dragon's wrath.
All right. Well, all right. So first, before we forget, we got to talk about how people can find your book.
You can find my book on Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com and on Kindle. So you can order the actual copy off of Amazon, or you can download it onto your Kindle.
So you could be reading this book tonight before you retire for the
before
evening,
you
right?
drift off,
If you have a Kindle.
Have a cuppa.
You could do the
sit
Kindle
down
thing like on your
read.
phone, right?
Yeah, you can do Kindle
Yeah,
on phone. Absolutely.
that's
That's the cool part about Kindle.
Right.
It's like any kind of device that supports.
I've used one of these. It remembers where you left off. So you could like change devices and you're like on the right page, and you'd even do notes and stuff. So, you know, I've been meaning to ask you, we've been talking about books the whole time. What about movies? What's like your favorite horror sci-fi film?
Favorite horror sci-fi film? I definitely, I love the Terminator series. I love Alien. I grew up with
Did you see the new one?
No, I haven't. I
heard it's not good.
I've been living in a hole for the entire year producing the next book. So I have a lot of catch up to play. But definitely grew up on like the classic like Predator, Alien, Terminator films. Recently, I started getting into the Conjuring series. Recently, that was really interesting. It was just kind of.
Now these are like spooky movies, right? Conjuring.
Yes.
Right.
It was.
It's like ghosts.
Yeah. See, I don't like slasher flicks because those things are really real.
No, you know, I try not to show them here either because it's just blood. It's not scary. It's just gross.
I like more suspenseful things.
Right.
Things that make you think. Things that like kind of set you up with that like breathless suspense on the edge of your chair.
I agree. No, you know, I love ghost films. They're my favorite, and I cannot find enough ghost films to show in the show because they haven't made enough. It's all like monsters and killers and.
You know.
We need more ghost films.
Absolutely.
You know, producers, you need to create more ghost films. Everybody's making a bloody zombie movie.
Zombies are big right now.
I don't like some. No, I don't think so. I think it's
They
going.
were. They had a moment. They had a moment.
No, The Walking Dead jumped the shark. It's done.
I loved Walking Dead. I was way into it. I read the comics on it. I stopped around season 5 or so.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
You don't want to see anything beyond that. It's
I was
terrible.
good.
So at the break, you were telling me your parents watch Creature Features.
The original Bob Wilkins Creature Features from the late 60s, 70s through the 80s. My mom and dad watched them, and they loved the show. And so when I told them I was coming on here, they had like a nostalgia moment, and they talked about. My mom saw the original first run of the Star Wars trailer back in like 76 probably, because Star Wars came out in 77. She saw it at Bob Wilkins Creature Feature that night, and she it blew her mind. It was the most amazing thing she'd ever seen. So
That's
definitely
incredible. I bet she never thought she'd have a daughter that'd be on Creature Features.
She was very excited.
Well, before you go, we're going to sit you in Bob Wilkins' chair. We'll post a photo. No, we got the actual chair here. It's over by the organ. All right, well, we got to get back to the film, but when we come back, we're going to find out what you're doing next, and you're going to tell us about your shoes, because I've been eyeing those things. I want a pair like that, not those, but similar, maybe, one day. All right, you guys stay with us. We will be back soon.
I hope Henry was right about having a clue. But why didn't he explain more about it when he phoned?
When I insisted, he changed his tone as if he'd been interrupted. I was afraid that he might be overheard. What is that squeaky sound?
Oh, just some night noise.
Help!
I feel much better, Mr. Heath, since you asked us to stay in your home until this new devil bat has been killed. I've been worried about Mary.
What reason have you to believe that Mary is in danger?
Only this. I'm convinced that someone is using the bat to wipe out the entire Heath and Morton families.
As a scientist, I assure you, the thought of a human controlling a bat is fantastic.
Just the same, no villager's been killed or even attacked.
You're forgetting, aren't you, that Mr. McGuire was attacked. He's not a member of either family.
Why, I'm practically a member of this family already. I'm going to marry Miss Heath's maid.
Oh, really? Well, boys, I'll have Maxine show you to your rooms.
I must be running along home. It's past my bedtime. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night,
Good night, Martin.
Good night,
Good
Doc.
night, Doctor.
Goodbye, Mary.
Come along. Maxine?
Oui, mademoiselle.
Did you fill my perfume bottles with something new?
Oh, no, mademoiselle. I never touch your perfume.
It's funny. I don't recognize it. Perhaps Dad filled them as a surprise. He always does that with every new perfume the plant puts out.
Is there anything else?
No, Maxine, that's all. Good night.
Good night, mademoiselle.
Mary, what happened?
It was trying to get in the window. A big bat. Oh, it was awful.
Mary, I want you to tell me everything you did just before that bat tried to get in.
Well, first I took a bath. Then I brushed my hair, and Maxine came in and turned the covers down. And then fastened the screen, which somehow had come unhooked.
Yeah? Go ahead, what else?
Well, then we talked about some new perfume that someone had put in my dressing table bottles. Dad, did you put any new perfume in my bottles?
No, I didn't.
Is this the stuff?
Yes.
Tony, this smells like...
Hey, quiet. I've got a hunch that I want to follow up, and I'll need everybody's cooperation.
We'll do everything we can.
Of course.
What's Carruthers' number?
48J.
Operator, give me 48J, please. Hello, Dr. Carruthers. This is Johnny Layton. That's right. Something terrible has happened to Mary. Can you hurry over?
I'll be right there.
Good.
Oh, Johnny, I'm all right. I don't need a doctor.
That's where the cooperation part comes in, Mary. You'll have to pretend to be a nervous wreck. Mr. Heath, you in one shot must help her trick Dr. Carruthers into staying here as long as you can.
Where are you going, Johnny?
To, do a little private bat hunting.
The devil bat tried to get through that window.
If she's suffering from fright, I give her a sedative. Where's Mr. Layton?
Well, I guess he's out in the garden hunting the devil bat.
Layton is a very brave young man. Give Miss Heath one of these every half an hour.
Oui, doctor.
It will quieten her nerves.
But, Doc, hadn't you better stay until she's quieter?
She'll be all right in the morning.
Hey, Doc, I don't feel so good myself. Would you mind taking my temperature?
You look perfectly well, Mr. McGuire.
Well, you ought to see my tongue. It looks just like a squirrel's tail. Look.
Try some calomel.
Hairstyling for the show was provided by Restoration Hair in Santa Rosa.
May have visitors tonight. And it would be dangerous for me if they found you here.
Hi, Doc. I hope I'm not intruding.
No, not at all. I heard you were out stalking the devil bat. Any success?
No, but I thought maybe you might be able to help me.
Well, I don't see how that's possible, but if you can suggest anything...
Well, you could give me some more of that new concoction of yours, that shaving lotion.
But how on earth could that possibly help catch the devil bat?
I've still got a crazy idea that if I douse myself with it, it might attract the killer.
I don't see how you can connect the two. But there is a bottle of the lotion on the table.
Thanks. You see, Doc, I figured out something. All four of the murdered people had this lotion on them when the devil bat struck. Now, my plan is to sit in the garden, and when the killer makes one of those power dives, I'll blast him.
Leighton, I'm afraid all these murders have affected your mind.
Maybe you'd like to come along, Doc, and be an eyewitness.
I'm sure it would be just a waste of time, but I'd be glad to watch your experiment.
Good. I knew I could count on you to help me.
I tell you, Leighton, expecting a bat to be attracted by the scent of a lotion is all foolishness. I think I better run around.
Ah, sit down, Doc. The devil bat's behind schedule tonight. You aren't very chummy tonight. What's the matter?
Firearms always make me nervous.
Oh, I thought maybe you didn't want to be sitting too close to me. Just in case the devil bat does show up.
According to your theory, the killer wouldn't attack me. I haven't any of that lotion on me.
You have now, Doc.
Why did you do that?
To make it a 50-50 proposition, Doc. Now sit down, and don't try any shenanigans. Not so funny when it's your own jugular vein that's in danger. Is it, Doc?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Maybe you made a mistake when you let that devil bat of yours out of the attic tonight. Don't worry about the bat killing you. I'm saving you for the hangman. Tell me, Doc, how did you develop a monster bat like that?
You wouldn't understand the scientific theory.
Chief, what are you doing out here?
Young fellow, don't think that you're the only man working on this case. And it was lucky I was here, too.
Thanks. Did you kill the devil bat?
No, he got away.
Well, here's one bird that didn't get away, and he's the murderer we've both been looking for. Quick, shoot it! Where is it?
It's gone.
And so's the doctor.
Did you get the bat?
What happened? Doc Carruthers is the murderer, and he's hiding somewheres in the garden.
You fellas get back to the house and guard Mary. Come on.
Doctor! Dr. Carruthers! Doctor! Has anything happened to Johnny? Is he hurt?
They took him up to my place. You better come along with me.
That was Mary. Are you all right, Mary?
Go help Dr. Carruthers. He's over there.
That devil bat belonged to the doctor, Mary. He created it to commit those murders.
Well, it's too late to help the doc.
So it's like a tin-like foil-like substance, and they look like they're made in Italy. Those are fabulous.
It's magic.
Absolutely magic. They're wonderful. All right, you can take your feet off my table now. So, aren't you going to finish the book? What? Oh, she finished it.
Already?
She's incredible, you know? I don't know what it is. I think she's like a savant or something. She can do
Do you want the next one?
You can test her. You can ask her about a part, and she'll tell you what page number it's on. Not tonight, though. she'll do it wrong on purpose. So, what are you up to next? What's in the horizon for Rachel Litfin?
A very busy year full of book signings, which I'm really excited about. So with my cosplay background I have, that was a perfect segue into lots of Comic-Cons because I was already doing Comic-Cons.
Right, of course.
Grew up in the Renaissance Fair, so I was able to use that. And so all over the West Coast, I'm very West Coast based, and I do Comic-Cons and Renaissance Fairs. I'm doing 2 to 3 events a month, and we set up the book with the tables.
Wow.
And, oh my gosh.
Well, you're not going to have time to write the 3rd book if you're off doing that, right?
You make time.
Right. Well, you know, I was quite impressed with your booth. We met Rachel at the East Bay Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, my goodness, she's got the best booth. You had a better booth than like the movie stars that were there.
It's called aesthetic.
Aesthetic.
Hashtag
Well,
aesthetic.
I know this word. Right, but you never see it at Comic-Cons. It's like, typically it's like one of these, you know, amateur booths. Yours was quite professional. And your father helped with this, right?
He's my art director.
Yeah.
Also my father.
See, and you know, a father art director is the best kind because they're free. Right?
Yes.
All right. How can we find out more about you?
Find out more about me on the social medias.
Which one? Give us one.
My Instagram is my most active.
So that would be at
Rachel Litfin, just my name.
Litfin.
Just Rachel
And that's
Litfin
it.
all
Put
together.
it in.
And
we can see photos, we get news,
all of
and
that
kinds of
stuff.
stuff.
And my website too has my event list and all that good stuff. And
what's the website?
It is my name, rlitfin.com.
rlitfin.com. I could have guessed that.
And
I would have said rachellitfin.com. What happens if you go there?
I haven't tried that.
Oh, you know, you should buy both.
Actually, no, we do. I think we do own the domain.
Yeah, no, it's
we just chose our.
Your marketing manager father probably is already taking care of this. All right, well, absolutely wonderful having you on the show.
Thank you
for coming out to meet with us.
Your home is lovely.
Wish you the best of luck with the next book. And
Thank you.
Future books, and we're looking forward to the day when your movie comes out.
Yeah.
We want to come to the premiere, her and I. Maybe Livingston will come too. All right, thank you again. You have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
As far as you guys go, thanks for staying up late with us again. You know, it was fun because she had fun. If she has fun, usually you have fun. I know I had fun. Maybe we'll have more fun next week, but I doubt it. We'll see you next week, though. Have a good night. So, Rachel, you know, I'm thinking with your success in writing, maybe I could write a book about fantasy and stuff, about like an aging rock star who like conquers dragons.
Yeah.